Maintenance Advisory Board. Thank you. Present at the meeting, well, Matilda is on Zoom, kind of, and Angela's not here, and Ken Dotson is not here, but we have our quorum. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes of the March 10th meeting?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Daniel make a motion. Is there a second? Okay, Ray has a second. Is everybody in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? We're not going to see her. Do you approve the minutes? Yes? Yeah, okay. Okay, so are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Okay, so we'll just go forward, and Christian, do you want to present O business? The first one is 210 Wendell Street, property maintenance, Chapter 1, miscellaneous, and we'll get an update from you.
On the O business, number on 210 Wendell Street, the property maintenance under miscellaneous, which is, okay, well, that's the road, that appears to be in compliance this time.
Does anybody have any questions for Christian about this property? Is there a motion to, that this property is now in compliance with the miscellaneous code?
I move that we concur with the code administrator's findings.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Are you in favor, Matilda? Okay, thank you. I guess we have also for abandoned, wrecked, dismantled, or inoperative vehicles for 210 Wendell Street.
On two.
Does anybody have any questions for Christian about 210 Wendell Street and the inoperative vehicles? Is there a motion that this property is now in compliance with the abandoned, wrecked, dismantled, or inoperative vehicles?
So moved.
Mitchell makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, Matilda.
Number 3 on old business is 210 Wendell Street, which is the
Any questions of Christian about this?
Christian, is it your opinion that to make the house habitable, that it would require more than 50% of the cost of the house?
Definitely it would fall into the slum category. The house is not fixable. The only thing I've been working with him on is getting the stuff out of the house so it can be removed. And he is aware of it. And I left there 15 minutes ago discussing this with him again, just to make sure he's on the same page. He is carrying things out that he's wanting to salvage, but I mean it's a time thing, you know. We just can't let it keep dragging on. But it has to be cleaned out and something done with this property.
Has he given you any indication as to when he can have it cleaned out?
Not 100%. Like I said, I just left there. He actually has not let me inside the house.
Sure.
So from just by the outside of the house with the damage around the back of the house that you can't see. But he did invite me to own the property, so I did walk around there and look at that. And he is aware that it's not fixable.
How does it fall in the time frame for the code itself in the way of this property's been on our agenda now for a good while? What's the time frame with, you know, the letters and the court and all that?
I'm not
He should have a hearing set up?
That's the next step.
Okay, and so I'm sure that time frame, since we discussed this in March, that we should already be at that point?
Yeah, I think, you know, with what's going on, I mean, I really would like to go inside, and I just haven't been let inside the property.
And if he's not going to let you in, he's not going to let you in.
But from his own words, he knows that the house is not fixable. So that is what I am going on, and just from the visual from the outside,
Do any of y'all recall the time frame on when he has been cited until he should have the,
We sent letters out asking him to let us in to see. And then COVID-19 hit, and he wouldn't let Christian in, right?
that is correct.
is he not letting you in because of COVID-19?
That was, yes, that was the case when I went over there and tried to enter the house. There was nothing mentioned on that today. Still was not asked, you know, I was questioned about the house, what's going on, or still, you know, and where were we at? And apparently the house, you know, is full of his mother's property that he's wanting to save before they tear the house down.
Just looking at this one section that popped up, that within 60 days after the posting and service of the order of the public officer, such person shall file such suit in the court. I mean, I'm just thinking that his time frame is way different than our time frame, and if we wait for him to get everything out of there, then, I mean, it's,
I agree. I mean, you know, you're going by the book, and
I think we should go by the book.
Have they even been having court?
What?
Have they even been having court because of the COVID?
Oh. I think they're having court, are they not having court now? I mean, with all the COVID stuff?
now we had a personal hearing on the
Hearing.
Slum here today. Now I don't know about the main court system, but it would be.
It would be the slum hearing, yeah, so it would be, they could have that now.
Have that.
Okay. So we just have to just keep moving with this. Ray, you have a question?
Christian, have you posted on the property
I have not posted any signage on the property,
Okay.
just because this was under old business, and,
Understood.
you know, I assumed that we would be moving forward after tonight on our next
Okay.
step.
So the meter, I think, and John, you may remember this, but I think the meter starts when you post it. Not when it's first identified, but when it's actually posted on the building. That's just a recollection. I'm not 100%.
Complaints or orders issued by the public officer pursuant to this chapter shall be served upon persons either personally or by registered mail, and then it talks about they're not there, or they could do the 2 times in the newspaper. A copy of this complaint or order shall be filed for record in the registrar's office, and then I just think if we just start going through this, and he's got his time frame just like everybody else, you know. So, are there any other questions or comments about the slum clearance violation of 210 Wendell Street? And since this is old business and it is still ongoing, I guess we will just ask for an update from you at our next meeting.
he has just now, as I understand, he's just now declaring that it's unfit. Is that?
I think we'd already declared that, had we not?
Well,
March 10th, we declared it.
just from a visual from the outside that we said yes, but it's on our own business. So we gotta move forward as from today, that it is definitely on the slum, you know, it is, because I wasn't allowed to enter the house. So
Right.
I'm going on a outside
Right,
look at it.
right,
Also, from what I was just told just 30 minutes ago, that it's definitely not fixable from the owner's
right,
standpoint.
right.
Even without going inside the house,
Right.
the owner has said this, yes, this is not fixable. And they are preparing to take it down.
To take it down, is that what you said?
To
He's-
take it down.
he's
After
got-
the stuff was removed. 3 days ago, they come out of there with the office mound of clothes, and so he is actually doing what he's saying. It's not every day. It's not, on the timeline, we'd like to see dump trucks
Right.
roll in and remove it, but he is actually working on
But he says he's going to tear it down.
it. It is.
Well, I guess you're probably right. He's now made us, we are now for sure claiming that it is now a slum. So I guess we need a motion that this property is in violation of the slum clearance code.
Do we not find that?
Well, I think we did, but I think he's saying that he didn't really, from my understanding, he was just doing an outside visual, and now that the property owner has said, I don't
At the
know.
last meeting, when I came, and it was on new business,
Right,
I had looked at the property, not being let in the property.
Right.
I was, can I go in the property? No, you can't, and, so that virus was all up in there, and that.
so maybe we jumped the gun the last time, is that what you're saying?
Had everything in the tailspin. Well, just from an outside visual, it's hard,
Yeah.
on some properties to make that conviction that it's done. And,
Yeah,
so I think if we move forward from what we have right here with our timeline, get a hearing set up whenever the appropriate time is a way to move on with this.
but he has already received a letter, does he have some,
Received all of these letters that,
about the slum clearance, he already has some, so then we have already found it, and he has already been told that, so we don't need to reestablish it then. You just need to catch us up, I guess, at the next meeting and let us know what the status is. Does that sound right to you all? Okay,
Mr. Chairman?
yes.
I would like to move that we suggest, since we can't do otherwise, that we suggest to Mr. Mansell that he proceeds in strict, he proceeds strictly per the ordinance guidelines.
and that includes me entering the property. Whenever I'm not, allowed to enter,
Yeah.
and we have another one in the same case, I don't, it's, but we do have an agreement from the homeowner that, that it is. So, there's a fine line, I think, there.
I think by the code, you're allowed to go into that property. Am I incorrect about that?
If people were in there, it would definitely be the case. If no one's living there, I think it's a little bit different, but.
Do you remember, Ray, if,
I don't remember the language. Can you see, from the outside, can you see in the windows? No?
No, I was all around just a minute ago. It's not, you can't tell what's inside.
Okay, so, Ray, is that a motion that you made? Okay, Ray has made a motion that we as a board recommend that Christian follow the code directly in dealing with this property. Is there a second on that motion?
Second.
Are there any questions or anything about the motion itself? If not, all in favor of the motion say aye. Matilda? Okay, thank you. Any opposed? Okay, we'll go forward with the next property then. 211 Wendell Street.
On 211 Wendell Street, on the Miscellaneous, so the only thing that is in violation this time is the trailer that's holding parts that will be removed to Cooper's. And through, again, with this virus or whatever, things have been mostly shut down and there's no money to get rid of this stuff. And that trailer is behind this car right here. And it has some air conditioners and parts and stuff on it that he is gonna haul off. Apparently, the salvage has been closed or the Cooper, or whatever, up until this time, and that's the same deal with a couple of cars that are gonna leave. All the vehicles, well, they are all running on that property as well.
That red Triple H running?
Yeah, that's 63 Impala. It's unbelievable how it's signed.
That property has a lot of stuff that you don't even see in that picture. And I don't even know if maybe you made those photos a while ago, I don't know, but those after photos.
That was after he mowed it a couple of weeks ago.
That property,
He went in, mowed the property.
it looks different today.
And stacked that stuff up. The grass is growing up a little bit.
There's junk everywhere, and there's lots of stuff in the back, other than just on a trailer, and there's stuff around the hole, and there's a lot of stuff. And he is, I think we found him to be in violation, I know, at least as of March for this, and according to the code, he had just a couple of weeks to get it cleaned up, and we are now in June, and it looks awful.
Yeah, that
So-
stuff definitely has to go. It is in violation. And so the city, will be next to move on it, to pick it up and put a lien on the property.
Anybody have any questions for Christian about 211 Wendell Street, the miscellaneous code? So this property, we've already found it in violation, so it will be up to you to follow the code and get back with us at the next meeting about what's been done with that property. Thank you. Then also, I guess there's the abandoned, wrecked, dismantled, or inoperative vehicles at the same property.
On 211 Wendell Street, the abandoned wrecked dismantled vehicles, all of these vehicles are running and they are tagged appropriately.
Anybody have any questions of Christian about that? Is there a motion that 211 Wendell Street is now in compliance with Chapter 2, abandoned, wrecked, dismantled, or inoperative vehicles?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Matilda, are you in favor for this now being found in compliance? Okay, thank you. Okay. 605 Evans Street. Miscellaneous code. Does anybody have any questions of Christian about this property at 605 Evans Street for miscellaneous?
I move to concur with the findings.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Oh, it's also, 605 Evans Street is also there for slum clearance violation. When you say it's for sale, is there a for sale sign in the yard?
No, it's, I don't know if they've listed it, but she told me, I mean,
Does anybody have any questions of Christian about 605 Evans Street slum clearance? So what's the next step to do here then for that?
well, so,
Did they have a letter already? I mean, have you already done all that stuff
I
too?
do know they're
So we found this property in violation in March, so really what we need from you then, I guess, is just to follow the code and get back with us at our next meeting about what the status is on this property. Okay, next is 315 South Church Street.
on, 315 South Church, this property is now in compliance.
And we decided not to do anything about all the vehicles and stuff there.
That's commercial property, and those vehicles are tied to that property. They do actually use the parts off of them. So that is a little different from the commercial.
Does anybody have any questions of Christian about 315 South Church Street miscellaneous code? Is there a motion that this property is now in compliance with the miscellaneous code?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor that this property at 315 South Church Street is now in compliance with the miscellaneous code, say aye. Any opposed? Thanks, Matilda. No, I saw you. Gotcha. Okay, that was,
Mr. Chairman?
yes.
I would like to suggest that we reach out to, or ask the city attorney and the mayor to reach out to CTAS to determine whether or not that the vehicles, abandoned vehicles on the property, in respect to those, whether or not we are interpreting our code correctly or not.
We talked about that at our last meeting, didn't we?
I believe we discussed it.
Yeah, did you look into that, John?
I can't remember, because it's commercial property, and then the way the code read was that if the vehicles are used in the operation of business, then therefore they can be there. It didn't say in what capacity. I
I
don't
remember
remember.
looking at that a long time ago. I feel like we discussed that topic, but it's been, I don't think I was at the last meeting, but at some point in the past, we did address that and
There was really nothing in that.
See, I interpreted the code differently than that. The commercial part of that as being, if it was a place, it was a business that worked on cars, and that, you know, that made it different than if they just had a bunch of their own vehicles sitting on their property that they use in their business. I looked at it differently. I thought, and I know this came up, maybe last meeting.
Yeah, we definitely discussed it, but.
Yeah.
if
I really
if remember
wish we
correctly,
could
there was
clarify
one thing we
that.
could do with that. Let me check.
Because I don't interpret it the same way that Christian interprets that. And I'm not saying you're wrong, but I just don't look at it the same way. And I think if we need to figure that out, because it's going to probably come up again, that there is going to be a business that's going to have stuff stored on there that maybe a bunch of junk stuff. They don't drive those things. And, you know, if they're using them for parts, that, you know, they've been sitting there forever, you know. So I think that's different than if that was a place that worked on vehicles.
The owners, you know, I asked specifically the owners, are they using the vehicles? They told me they were definitely using parts off of them at different times. And, I mean, that's what I was told. And so what I was going by was the original finding, and I don't remember exactly what property that came up on, but we did have that issue before that he did look into, and that's how I was basing my judgment.
Yeah.
But, you know,
I remember talking about it with this property.
there
That's
was another property as well.
I don't know. I don't remember.
what it was.
It'd just be nice to clarify that.
Twin Lakes property. Is that what it was?
That is
Twin Lakes?
Twin Lakes.
That is Twin Lakes? Oh,
Yeah.
I remember that coming up. I thought I responded to it as far
Yeah,
as
I thought so as well.
what I thought.
The ordinance says if it's in the correct zone, which is, I guess, C1 or whatever, and it is, and they have a license.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'm fairly certain that the language in the ordinance applies to places like auto repair shops and et cetera that have unoperable vehicles stored on their property that they are in the process of repairing and working on, et cetera. I don't think it applies to just a general blanket commercial situation. I think it's very specific to businesses that would have, in their normal course of business, would have these types of inoperable vehicles. Again, motion on the table is that we request that the city inquire of CTASC about the interpretation.
Okay, I'm just going to read this one sentence in here. It says, "This section shall not apply to any vehicle enclosed within a garage or building or private property, under a carport on private property, behind a privacy fence or otherwise out of public sight on private property, or to any vehicle held in connection with a business enterprise, lawfully licensed by the town and properly operated in the appropriate business zone pursuant to the zoning laws of the town, or to any motor vehicle in operable condition specifically adopted or designated for operation of drag strips," blah, blah, blah. And I just agree with Ray. I interpret that differently. So it would just be good to clarify that. So we have a motion on the table to clarify, that would be section 13202 of of the abandoned vehicle code.
Can we apply motions like that for that type of question? Can we just ask Christian, they can look into that, if they need a motion? I don't really think that.
I think to be formal, we would have to have a motion, I believe. And it would go on record as there's a motion. So that's Chapter 2, Abandoned, Wrecked, Dismantled, or Inoperative Vehicles, Section 13202. So there is a motion to have that clarified. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of this motion, to have this clarified, say aye. Any opposed? Okay. Thank you, Matilda. She voted for it also. Okay. 521 Sevier Street.
On 521 Sevier Street, the city cleaned this property up and has taken the lead on this property. So it actually is in compliance.
It's a major difference. A major difference.
It looks so much better. Is there a motion that this property is now in compliance with the miscellaneous code, this property at 521 Sevier Street?
Move we concur.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Now we have 411 High Street miscellaneous code.
On 411 High Street, this property is now in compliance.
Anybody have any questions of Christian about 411 High Street? Is there a motion that this property at 411 High Street is now in compliance with the miscellaneous code?
I move we concur.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor that this is now in compliance with the miscellaneous code, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Now we have 815 Water Street slum clearance.
On 815 Water Street, this property has actually been condemned for use per the judge at the hearing that we had on this property a couple of months back. These people were planning on restoring this property, which it can be restored, but at this time, it has not been brought up to standard living conditions. So it is still under that ruling at this time.
And really, there's nothing else that we do. I mean, it's posted, I'm assuming, on the house somewhere, and
We have it, well, I have a sign up there, but,
did the judge give them any direction about anything to do, or it was just condemned and that's just kind of left it there? I guess what I meant was, is there a time frame that they had to do? No, so there's no time frame, so many days or whatever. So does that just stay in our old business, or how do we?
What happened was, so I don't think it would come off old business since there was an update.
That it would come off old business?
Yeah, because it should have already been off, but he wanted to update.
Okay.
So
And is that something that you keep up with? Do you keep up with that year date, or who does? You do?
Yeah, yes. We actually turned.
So really, I guess there's no reason for us to keep up with that property, just like anyone else that's coming from
I mean,
it.
it is, you know,
Okay, thank you for the update.
So, but the only issue is,
So really, you don't have to stay in, you don't stay in touch with them, you just, after that year, you just, so otherwise you don't.
The main thing.
If the repair, alteration, or improvement of the structure can be made at a reasonable cost in relation to the value of the structure, not exceeding 50% of the reasonable value, requiring the owner during the time specified in the order to repair, alter, or improve such structure to render it fit for human occupancy, or use to vacate and close the structure for human occupancy or use. And then it talks about if it can't be done with that amount of money. If, if after such notice and hearing is provided for in the preceding section, the public officer determines that the structure under consideration is unfit for human occupancy or use, he shall state in writing his findings of fact in support of such determination, and shall issue and cause to be served upon the owner thereof an order. But it doesn't say what, no, it does not say. But it says if the owner fails to comply with the order to repair, alter, improve, or to vacate and close the structure as specified in the preceding section, the public officer may cause such structure to be repaired, altered, or improved, or to be vacated and closed, and the public officer may cause to be posted on the main entrance of any dwelling so closed a placard with the following words: "This building is unfit for human occupancy or use. The use or occupation of this building for human occupancy or use is prohibited and unlawful." And if they fail to comply with the order to remove or demolish the structure, the public officer may cause the structure to be removed and demolished. But that, I guess that doesn't apply if it's 50%, less than 50%. No. Okay. I guess we're ready for our,
I guess a year from now, you'll come back and let us know.
yeah,
Let's hope it doesn't come that long.
yeah. Okay.
So, just, the one way that, you know, the officer, when we had a hearing on another property, that the read was that it could be closed, and kept anybody from entering.
Yeah.
I didn't want that to happen because this can be fixed. So, hopefully they'll keep on it. And, like I said, I haven't been up there in about 3 weeks, so I'm not sure if they've done anything or not. I'll have to go over there and check on it.
Thank you. Now we're into new business, 710 West 3rd Street, property maintenance, Chapter 1, miscellaneous. And is that for the overgrown grass and all? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
Anybody have any questions of Christian for 710 West 3rd Street?
Move we concur.
Okay, Ray makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor that 710 West 3rd Street is in violation of the miscellaneous code, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. 602 College Street, also in violation of miscellaneous code.
On 602 College Street, it appeared to me to be in compliance.
Does,
What was the
any other questions of Christian about this property at 602 College Street? Is there a motion that this property is in compliance of the miscellaneous code?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. 507 Evans Street, miscellaneous code. When was that photo made?
was there no?
I think that one previously has had abandoned vehicles.
But they're behind the fence.
Yeah, they're behind there, or sometimes they're out, but
But they're not out of public view.
no, because you can see them from the property behind, and we've had that discussion too, but I think,
But it wasn't from the road.
Yeah.
Because we discussed,
Yeah.
that's exactly what we discussed,
Yeah.
because you can't see it from the main road, therefore
Right.
it is behind the house and
Right.
out of view of sight.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Okay. Any other questions of Christian about 507 Evans Street? Is there a motion that this property is in compliance with the miscellaneous code? Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Okay. 205 Wayne Street, violation of miscellaneous code. And it's the overgrowth of grass and everything too, is that what that all is too? Any questions of Christian about this property at 205 Wayne Street? Is there a motion that this property is not compliant? It's in violation of the miscellaneous code.
I move we concur with the findings.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor that this property at 205 Wayne Street is in violation of the miscellaneous code, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, 507 Medlock Street, miscellaneous code.
507 Medlock Street on the miscellaneous appears to be in compliance.
I move we concur.
Is there any discussion? All in favor that this property is compliant with the miscellaneous code, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Oh, and it's 507 Medlock Street is also for abandoned, wrecked, dismantled, or inoperative vehicles.
On this as well, I find it in compliance. Although this blue truck at the moment has the motor did blow up in the truck, the gentleman had it towed back to his property. He's fixing the truck, so I have to find it in compliance. It is not an abandoned vehicle.
Okay. Any questions of Christian about this 507 Medlock Street and inoperative vehicles? Is there a motion that this property is in compliance with this code?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor that this property at 507 Medlock Street is in compliance with abandoned, wrecked, and dismantled vehicles, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. 756 Villa Drive, miscellaneous code.
On the
Hey, Christian.
miscellaneous, on 756 Villa, sorry. 756 Villa appears to be in violation.
What were your findings at that property? Is it just overgrown? I can't remember. I've seen
Yeah,
it, but
the property is overgrown, to say the least. There's things everywhere.
anybody have any questions of Christian about 756 Villa Drive, miscellaneous code? Is there a motion that this property is in violation? Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Same property, 507 Medlock Street, abandoned, wrecked, dismantled, or inoperative vehicles.
It appears to be in violation on 4 vehicles at this property, which CADs have been taken on these vehicles.
So their clock is ticking on that then too.
They have 60 days from whenever.
And I guess, 2 weeks from the miscellaneous code, is that right?
Yes.
Any questions of Christian about that code with 507 Medlock Street? Is there a motion that this property is in violation of the abandoned, wrecked, dismantled, or inoperative vehicles code?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? Ray, second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. I said Medlock Street, didn't I? It was Villa Drive. Hold on, I'm getting my things messed up here. 513 Cullum Street, miscellaneous code.
At the time that these pictures were taken, it was in violation. This property has been cleaned since.
Any questions for Christian about this property? Is there a motion that 513 Cullum Street is they are compliant with the miscellaneous code?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. 421 Woodland Street, miscellaneous code.
421 Woodland appears to be in violation, and I know by this picture, it looks like, this is the front of the house. It's the back of the house is the concern, and the picture really don't do it justice that you can see back over, but there's a grass line that's pretty tall that's running right up to the neighbor's property of ours. So this is, to me, it appears to be in violation.
Any questions for Christian about this property at 421 Woodland Street? Is there a motion that this property is in violation of the miscellaneous code?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Redbud Lane, 400 Price Street, miscellaneous code.
On this property, it appears to be in violation. These folks are, seem to be A1. As soon as they got the letter, they're calling me. They have hired someone to clean the property up, but at this time it is in violation, but it is being worked on.
Okay, Ray makes a motion, we concur. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, behind 518 North Church Street, miscellaneous code.
On 518 North Church, it appears to be in compliance to me.
What was it supposed to be?
I think that there was some building material right to the right of that little building that someone might have called in on, but the gentleman that owns this property removed it and cleaned it up, and it's definitely in compliance. Or it appears to me that it's in compliance.
Any questions of Christian about this property behind 518 North Church Street? Is there a motion that this property is in compliance with this miscellaneous code? Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Corner of Miller and Mchenry Street, slum clearance.
This property also is still in violation, or appears to be in violation, although this gentleman, as of today, the unit that you see the tractor around everything's totally been ripped off of it. It's a work in progress. It's not I've been trying to stay on top of it, and he is working on it some every day, and so it's coming apart, but it is in violation.
You mean he's tearing it all down, or he's?
4 of the units are going to be restored, and the other remainders will be removed.
4 of the units will be, what you said after that?
Restored.
Restored.
Yep.
Is there still one of the units that's occupied?
Yes,
And it looked like it was in pretty good shape.
it is.
Okay, so if this was the slum clearance, does that mean,
This unit itself is definitely, it had caught fire. It's definitely slum, and it is being tore down. You can drive down there. He actually today finished tearing all of the siding off, and should have the framing down the next day or two where he can remove that trailer or whatever it is underneath for the frame there. And so the ones that are out, he's actually started putting some new glass in and is planning on renting some of the others. There's another one behind this that actually will be removed as well.
and he's told you all that, like today or whenever? He's told you
Well,
that,
I've been
so-
talking to him for the last few weeks,
Okay.
and he had a tree fall on but right as of today, it is in violation.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions of Christian about this property at the corner of Miller and McHenry Street, slum clearance? Is there a motion that this property is in violation of the slum clearance code? Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And I guess unless there's not, that's the end of our list. Okay. So our next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, July 14th at 5:30. Oh, you have something?
Before we adjourn, I made an inquiry of one of my realtor friends as to whether or not 605 Evans was listed on multiple listing service, and it is not.
That property's not up for sale yet then?
It is not listed for sale. It is for sale. It may have turned worse than, before she got it listed. I'm not sure how how all that went down with what they had going on, but.
Yeah. I guess as long as you follow the code and do what it says, when it says, then we're fine with that. Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? All in favor, say aye. Okay.